Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for taking a quick break from scrolling through LinkedIn. In case you don't know me, my name is Ruben Dreiblatt, Editor-in-Chief at Faveeo. In a few short moments, you'll be hearing a clip of the discussion I had with Robert Napoli on the future of work. Rob is principal of the Hapday Group, which helps fabulous international founders implement their business strategy in the US market. The two questions I asked Rob were about qualities he looks for in candidates and work-life balance. These are pressing concerns for the future of work, as life gets squeezed with longer hours, and the skills that succeed in the job market continue to change. This is the 8th idea of Faveeo's 20 Ideas for 2020 project. Thank you all for your continued interest in this project, and without further ado, the clip you've been waiting for. When recruiting for companies, what is one key quality you look for in candidates? Does it differ for different companies? For one company, maybe it's a free spirit, versus another, it's a type A number cruncher.
Yeah, so great question. And I think it's all going to be dependent on what the company's objective is and what they're looking to do.
Sure.
One of the things, especially with early companies and early stage, don't hire for a specific role. Hire for a skill set. Because early on, you may need a CFO, but you really don't, right? But if you have a business development rep or a sales rep or somebody who's really good with numbers, they can kind of take on some of that responsibility. So really hire for a skill set. I think Ginny Felding from Techstars was, I want to say it was an entrepreneur or Forbes magazine, something like that. She was talking about this specifically, and it hit so close to home, with working in recruitment for 9 years. One of the biggest mistakes is everyone thinks you need to set up a hierarchy, a CEO, a CMO, a CRO right away.
Right, get the C-suite.
Yeah, you don't need to necessarily, unless, certain companies at certain stages do,
right.
And I think it makes sense in certain regards, but for the most part, you don't hire skill set. And I usually say, when you're hiring for that skill set, hire somebody who has the right mentality.
Right.
Obviously, understanding working in a startup, you don't just have one task, you have multiple, so adaptability. And energy. Working in a startup is tough.
Sure.
And most people have this startup cool mentality. And as much as I love it, it's tough.
Yeah.
And you have to have the energy, and you have to be ready, and the want to do more than just one roll up your sleeves and get in.
Right. It is. It's definitely, startups have that hip vibe. Everyone's like, oh, young and fun working for a startup, but hard work, long hours.
Yep.
That actually leads very nicely into another question I have, which I was going to ask a little bit later, but I can't knock a perfect transition. So work-life balance, big topic of discussion these days for Americans, I think for corporate folks pretty globally. As president of a company, does this balance exist, or is there just a synthesis of the two where work and life become the same thing? And then is that good or bad?
Yeah, so I always love this question, especially when I talk around what flexibility means to different companies. So I had the wonderful experience of living in Europe. I lived in Italy for 2 years and worked for a European company where, we had so much time off, and they have a lot more holidays. It was amazing. Actually, adjusting back to the US was a little bit tough.
Sure.
From, I adjusted back into more of a corporate role where it was 8 to 5, and Italy it was you start at 9, but really 9:30 you have coffee, and so you don't really start till 10. But I don't necessarily think the term work-life balance is really good in theory, but it's unique in the fact that work and life, that balance adjusts over time. There are times when you need to work 40, 50, 60, 70 hours, but those offset weeks where maybe it is a 30-hour week, or you work a half-day Friday because you put in a long week.
Sure. And
people who think that hours, especially in a startup, are 10 to 6, I don't work after 6, I don't look at Slack on the weekends, then you're in the wrong place. Go to corporate.
That's not good.
And I get it. And even corporates nowadays are looking at that. And I think there's non-traditional ways to have flexibility where you can still give work-life balance, i.e. A parent. They got to pick up their school kids at 3 o'clock or 3:30. If they work 8 to 2, go pick up their kid, have lunch, pick up their kid, and then they're back logged on from 4:30 to 8.
Sure.
Right? It's a little bit longer day, but they have that break.
Yeah, the break in the middle. Right.
Allowing for flexibility gives them the chance to have work-life balance, but it doesn't change anything. A lot of companies that have unlimited PTO, what you actually see is that not everyone, they actually don't take as much PTO, because when you have 2 weeks or 10 days, it's if you don't use it, you lose it. So you're gonna use it.
Right.
But when you have this idea of unlimited vacation time, you you take the time off where you feel you need it, and so you kind of control that work-life balance of, I've done all these things, now it's a slow season for us, and we can take this time. And so I think thinking less of work-life balance and thinking more of flexibility and allowing people to ebb and flow with the market, with the company. And I think it's industry specific.
True,
right?
certainly.
If you work in accounting or financial industry, tax season is really important.
Right.
You can't have people taking off.
Right.
If you work in retail business, holiday time, November, December,
sure,
that's where people need extra hours, right? So that flexibility, that work-life balance ebbs and flows throughout the year. There's times when you put more effort into, your life balance versus your work balance, and you ebb and flow that, and just making sure that you find your own balance. And from a company perspective is, understanding what you want from that flexibility and what that means, whether it's unlimited PTO or certain PTO, but you have certain initiatives for your employees. And a dev team and a sales team might have two different initiatives, and so many companies put this box around what that is. And so I think flexibility and understanding that is a little bit more important, and that can be done depending on the size of the company at the management level versus all the way at the top.
Right.
And that needs to be looked at.
Right. Don't look at all the employees as the same.
Exactly.
Everybody's working on different things.
Exactly.